Hello again, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining, everybody. We're going to do a special whiskey review here. We got all three of us together. All three of us have the exact same bottle at the exact same time, and we have done some scoring behind the scenes. But never before have we sat down and had a discussion about a bottle and just talked about our differences, our likes, and yeah, just where we ended up in the end. So, Kelsey, why don't you show everybody the bottle that we're going to be talking about tonight? So this is the Old Dominick. This is the Old Dominick Cask Strength. This is their batch one of the Cask Strength. Releasing this year, 6 years old. This is their first time releasing a Cask Strength blend like this. And we got to taste this for the first time while we were at the distillery just a few months ago, doing a barrel pick at Old Dominick. Now, you may not know the name Old Dominick, but you may see some of their other brands on the shelves, such as the Huling Station. They were a brand that previously was doing MGP sourcing before they then branched out on their own. Huling Station was the brand that they were releasing MGP through. So they had 44% rye, bourbons. They also had wheated. I think they had some other releases as well. They had a whole bunch of different colors going on. But they're one of those brands that used to source MGP. Now they are transitioning to their own stuff, and we get to talk about their own stuff. Kelsey, Durrell, what do you got to add to that?
I would just say, the cool thing about this particular cask strength is that it's the exact same mash bill that they have been sourcing from MGP, which is the 44% rye. So it's the same. It's the same mash bill. It's just produced in Memphis and aged in Memphis. And they laid this down 6.5 years ago. Now it's come to age. They've stopped sourcing from MGP, switching over to their own juice with the exact same mash bill, but it's aging in Tennessee, not Indiana. So it's a little bit different flavor profile, but man, I'm excited to get into this one to kind of see what you guys think about it. So let's give it a go on the nose.
Durrell, anything else to add to that intro?
Yeah, I'm literally right there with Kelsey. For you guys, I think you might have had these before I had even a sample of them. I think while we were doing our pick a couple months back, that was the first time I think I had Huling Station, or I may have had it once and just didn't really know what it was at the time. But I was really, really surprised. I know what I had prior, I think, was MGP versus their own juice. So when I got to try this initially at the distillery, I was kind of a little blown away. Wasn't expecting it to taste like it did. So I'm really excited to dive back into it now with you guys here to see if that really, sits the same way as it did, first sip upon like even a second sip when I kind of like jotted down some notes and a little bit of a review on it. But really, really surprised in a good way at what they're doing right now.
And then, as Kelsey mentioned, this was 6 years old. It's 121 proof, 44% rye in this bourbon. So it is a high rye bourbon. And I think I just said it, $68, I think is the price on this one.
Just over 60, I believe.
All right. Cheers, fellas.
Cheers, man. Let's get into the nose on this thing. Man, right off the bat, I get a lot of barrel influence char, like a smoky note, but also some really sweet, like candied apple, and maybe just a hint of cherry off of the nose.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the cherry. I had that down in my notes quite a bit. I wasn't getting that initially on my initial impression of it, and more that cherry note's been emerging. Yeah. I kept saying it was a raisin to start. I kept saying raisin, and then it's been slowly turning into more of a distinct cherry, dry cherry type of a thing than a raisin.
Yeah, I can certainly see the cherry. I can see the cherry. For me, like up front, it's sweet and spicy. Like it's like the best of both worlds for me. Like I love the sweetness that I get on the nose. You get some of those fruits. You get some barrel influence. It's definitely a little, I wouldn't say ethanol forward, but I get some spice on the nose. Like I can't really take a good whiff because it kind of like just hits me a bit. but it's potent. Like, off nosing it that it's cask strength or barrel proof. Like, there's no denying that for me. But there's a lot of nice flavors. It's only 6 years old, but I think it comes across maybe a little older. Like, it has some nice barrel influence, and just those notes are just really, really present on the nose.
If I was blinding this, I probably would say 8, 6 to 8.
Yeah.
I would probably be in that range too.
It is spicy on the nose though.
Yeah.
I like to bury my nose in things, and it's not ethanol hot. It is actually just legit spicy. Like, it is like approach with caution sometimes because of that level of spice that it hits me with that 44% rye.
With Jeff, with you drinking a ton of MGP, it's interesting that it comes through with like it's to me, it's like in between old MGP and newer MGP, like the younger MGP. It's like a blend of like right in the middle. Like, you get some of those darker notes that you used to get, but you also get some of those younger notes, like the apple and the brighter notes that come through on some of the newer MGP.
Yeah. It is interesting too that they match that mash bill and everything, and you can actually see the similarities with what they were going for in matching that mash bill on this particular blend and then batch. But I've seen other brands try to release 21%, 36% rye, and they just don't even match what they were going for, seemingly.
Yeah.
So on the nose, we're all positive about this. Would you go 1 thumbs up or 2 thumbs up?
I would probably be at a 1 thumbs up. As much as I love the nose, like, I've had a lot of whiskeys that I gave 2s to, and this just doesn't hit me like that. But with that being said, like, it's no slouch in the nose. Like, it definitely has a great nose. But the ones that get 2s for me are the ones that are typically a little older, that have just a lot of depth, which this has some of that, but just lacks a little bit on those features. It is 6 years. It's not 10 to 12, so it's kind of expected. But definitely a solid 1 for me. Like, if I can give it like a 1+, like in between, too.
That's what I was going to say too. Yeah.
I'm right there with you. I'm going to go 1 thumbs.
Let's get into the taste of this thing, man.
I snuck a sip
Cheers.
prior to this, man, and oh god, it's everything I remember. I'll tell you that.
Woo!
Notice I did my D glass here for Dominic.
There you go.
Pulling in the theme.
Man, Darrell hit the nail on the head when he said sweet and spicy. Man, it get all of those sweet notes up front, and then mid to back palate, it's just all spice, like just flavor bomb. And then it's really pretty viscous too, because the mouth coating feel is enveloping your whole palate.
I don't know if you can see it, but like, it got some legs. You can see them on my glass, like literally midway through where I'm swirling it, it's just dripping down. Yeah.
And it is dark for 6 years, man.
So what kind of flavors you get when it comes to front and mid palate here?
For me, I'm getting all that fruit still. Like, you're still getting a little bit of that cherry. That barrel influence is still there. Like, I got right at the tail end, almost not like a bitter note, but I'm getting more oak than I would expect off of something that's 6 years old. So that's like at the tail end for me. But like right up front, like that sweet and spicy, it's sweet fruit up front, then spicy with that rye spice kicking in like mid to the finish. And that rye spice is creating, I think, a longer finish on top of the proof. Like, it is 121 proof, but coupled with that rye, like it drinks nice. It definitely drinks its proof for sure, if not above that.
Yeah, totally agree with you there. I couldn't add anything else to that.
So then on the palate, where are you guys? Thumbs up or 2 thumbs up? All right. I'm going to go 1. Kelsey's at 2.
If I factor like literally everything we do with these, man, like value and everything, I got to put this as a 2 thumbs up, because it was a very, very pleasant surprise for me. Like, I pretty much like everything about this whiskey. It's hard trying to find, like some cons. Maybe it could have been a little older, yes, but it for what it is, it's really good. And at that value, I think really kind of catapults this for me.
Yeah, I would say the mid to back palate is where this shines. I do like the sweetness up front, but mid to back palate, man, it is just a flavor bomb and it keeps going. I think the only thing con for some people, not me personally, would be kind of that oak tannin that comes in towards the back end. It's not bitter at all, but it could be off-putting for some people that don't enjoy that much oak influence on the whiskeys. So that would be the only thing I could nitpick at all on this one. What about you, Jeff, being the MGP guru here?
I mean, honestly, as we are sitting here trying to like talk about this thing on the fly, I am getting battered by the finish still. Like it's been a solid minute and a half since I've had a sip, and I am still getting just the rye spice and, as you said, that oak tannins like on the finish. Like it is just still in the back of my throat, just attacking me. But in my terms, I love it. Like I'm just like, oh my gosh, this finish is so good as I'm sitting here relishing in it.
I think
I'm going to go in for another sip.
I think it's only going to get better with air too. Like, I mean, you can see how much air I've only got in this thing. It's very little. I think it's going to get sweeter. The only thing that I hope that it doesn't do as it gets more air is the tannin notes would accentuate. If that was more accentuated, it could be a potential off-putting thing. But I think the way that typical MGP does for me, it gets sweeter as it gets more air. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll try to revisit as well.
So what do you think about this finish, Darrell?
There hasn't been, well, there's been a few whiskeys this year that had finishes similar to this, but this is what you want in a finish, right? Something that's cask strength or barrel proof, like this is what's expected, right? It's going to light you up a little bit on the mid to the back and just sit there, and you're going to you don't have to take an immediate sip to get that flavor again, right? It's still sitting on my tongue, and I haven't took a sip, like you said, in like a minute to 2 minutes, right? And I can still taste the flavor. I can literally just swish my tongue around and literally just, it tastes like I drank it again.
What are you getting right now when you say you taste that flavor?
So for me right now, I'm still getting a little bit of that oak. It's slightly bitter, but I love oak. Like Kelsey mentioned, it could rub some people the wrong way, but it takes a lot of oak to rub me the wrong way. And I don't get that on this, but you definitely get a heavy oak presence. Like the whiskey is older than what it is. But for me, it's like dark vanilla, like almost like if you took like vanilla extract and kind of like cooked it down like on like in a saucepan. Like it's a dark vanilla for me versus just that bright like milk.
I equate that to molasses. That's what I get.
That could be that. I've never had molasses, but I can probably see that. But yeah, it's a darker vanilla and or maybe even molasses mixed in with that oak, some sweetness. Like the sweetness doesn't die, but it's like the best of both. It's sweet and spicy, which I really, really like.
I'm still tasting it.
Yeah, I mean, for 6-year-old whiskey, this finish is strong. I mean, it is very, very strong. I mean, it's to the point where, like Jeff said, you could sit there and let it go for 2-3 minutes and you're still tasting it. So kudos to Old Dom. I mean, they're putting out some killer stuff. We will be doing a pick with this mash bill. It's an MGP version of this, but you guys should definitely check out their stuff. If it's in your store, definitely go give it a try for sure.
And definitely want to shout them out for actually giving us this bottle too, right? To review. So thank you guys for that while we were there, man. Really, really appreciate it. This bottle is delicious. I really, really enjoy it. Looking forward to what's going to be coming up, in the near future with them, man. Like
so where are you on the finish then?
I'm a 2 thumbs up for sure on the finish. Like this finish is killer.
Yeah, agreed.
Take one sip, it sits there for 5 minutes, man.
So give me your final scores, guys, as we go through this. Let's do the panel final scores. Kelsey?
I scored this, so you guys know our scoring system. I scored it at an 89, which is really, really high for a 6-year-old. I mean, like I said, the only potential knock is that oak influence for some people, but for me, and then Darrell, like he likes it as well, is that it sticks around. Like, it tastes older than it is. So kudos to them. Darrell?
Yeah, for me, I'm literally just a hair away from Kelsey. I was at an 88 on this. It hit me pretty much the right way in every aspect of the experience. The only times that it really didn't score as high was maybe just up front on a nose. But once you start tasting this whiskey and it hits your palate, you're like, oh crap, okay. But yeah, 88 for me, which is really, really high for this year. It's probably maybe top 10, I think, in terms of scoring. Honestly, I would have to go look, but it's up there. It's a really, really good whiskey, especially at $65 or $68.
These guys are a little higher than me. I'm at an 84, but man, I had to actually check my math over and over again because I couldn't figure out how I was an 84 and they were an 88 because all of our scores look so lock and sync together.
Yeah.
But man, if they're already scoring on average between all three of us 86 at a 6-year age statement, what's it going to be? 7 years, 8 years, 9 years.
Right, exactly. And they're already at 7 years now. So their next batch is probably going to be 7 years. So
it's going to be 7 years. So keep an eye out for Old Dominick. Not sure on the distribution of this. I see it in Northern Kentucky. Curious if everyone sees it in their area. But here is the label so that you can keep an eye on it. Particularly, we are talking about the Cask Strength release. And this is their bourbon release too. Their Cask Strength Bourbon, to be clear. And if you live in Memphis and you like whiskey, you better go down to Old Dominick and check them out.
Absolutely. 100%. Major Zero, we're talking to you. So,
all right. Any parting words, fellas?
Cheers. Thanks, guys. Go check this stuff out.
Like, literally excited to see what they do in the next year or two, man. Because for me, this was A1 off the first sip.
Agreed.
All right. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.